Just want to welcome everyone to SJC Language Center's Professional Perspectives. This is our last for this season, and in a month we will start a new season, so please stay tuned. But we have been very much looking forward to this particular interview, and I'm going to turn it over to Anita to introduce our guest for this evening.
Thank you, Vicky. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to yet another session of Meeting an Expert on Professional Perspectives through the St. Joseph's College Language Centre. Today is especially a very dear session for me because it is to do with the person who I consider the closest in terms of my wavelength, in terms of a person who's understood me so well and who's guided me so beautifully. Meet my mentor, Shobha Mangoli. Everyone, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Shobha Mangoli. Dr. Shobha is actually a clinical psychologist with years and years of experience, at least 32, if not more. I think actually more, but we've been modest and put it around 32. And we've had Dr. Shobha guide people everywhere she goes. So name anything that you have, name any field that you have, name a person you have, and you will find that there is someone who you know she would have helped or would be connected to someone she has helped. In the field of psychology, that is what motivates her. Her main purpose and goal in life is to be of support to help to each and every one that she comes across. Whoever needs it, she is there with you. She's traveled India as well, and I think we'll very well work on that and listen to her experiences and escapades also, I may say. But what really is so endearing is that she does not hesitate to explore areas which have not been explored, and she's ready to put her best foot forward to support anyone and everyone who she comes across. And I can say that I'm one of them. So I think we'll best get to know more when we start. Over to you, Vicky.
All right.
Start. Well, welcome, Dr. Shobha.
Thank you, and welcome. We are very excited because we've been looking forward to this for 2 months. We've had you on the calendar. So thank you so much for taking the time. And I'm going to start with a question about passion and about your career as a clinical psychologist. Is this something that from your childhood that you always wanted to know about how minds work and things like that? Could you tell us how you, if it was a passion like that, how you developed it? How did you get interested in wanting to know about how minds work?
Okay, so I think that's very interesting to kind of know from a very different perspective, because I'm talking to the English department, right? And my teenage dream, I would say, was to become an English literature professor and read books. And it was a very selfish motive. My whole idea was that I can read books. I will have access to libraries, so there will be a lot of books. I will have access to young minds, like by the time I grow old, to whom I can discuss and understand. So it was like it was for me a plan laid ahead in my mind. Like, this is how my life has to be. And then I had to choose in BA the subjects. So I said, okay, English literature, then what? So the different combinations that I went through, somebody came and told me that you need to take a practical subject to get more marks, because English literature professors give very less marks. So you won't get a first class. And please understand, I'm talking about 1982 and not, so it's long time back, right? So then I said, okay, so what are the practical subjects I can take? And then when I saw the combination, I had to choose between psychology, music, and home science. I said, music is something I enjoy, so I don't want to learn, because I was not a person who was into either music learning. I said, home science, my mother will anyway use and teach me at home. So what is left is psychology. And I was in Rajasthan at that point of time where it was like early marriage and all that stuff. And though being a South Indian, I was like, okay, I'll get married very soon, like, because that's the kind of thing. So I said, yeah, at least if nothing else, psychology will help me handle the in-laws better. So with that background, I took psychology. But I think the first day of my college and my professor, Dr. A.K. Malik, I think he's no more now. But he kind of introduced the subject in such a beautiful manner that I just fell in love with the subject. And then when I started reading, so the whole idea was still, my focus was on English literature. But when I started reading psychology and started doing the lab work, I requested one of my friend to be a subject. As we know in psychology, we need. And after doing the experiment, I would interpret, go read more and give her tips to implement. She would go and implement the tips. And she would come back and report to me. So first year only, I started these small initiatives on my own. And when she would come back and say, she said, hey, Shobha, this worked. She said, Shobha, this did not work. It was such an eye-opener for me. And I think somewhere between my professor and my subject, my friend, I think I fell in love with psychology. And if I have to put in one word, I think from that day that I fell in love, I'm still not out of love from psychology and continue to kind of work in this field. So it's a very interesting twist that I kind of got. But I think by end of BA, I was very clear psychology is my field. English literature can be my, can just be my passion, and I can, read books at any point of time I want. But psychology is something because I see a huge potential of it in terms of helping people. So then I shifted to BA honors, and I think the passion continues. And I think I'm at a stage where I reached a stage very soon where I said that if your hobby becomes your vocation, then you tend to be on a lifelong vacation. And I think that's the philosophy by which I live, and that kind of takes me forward. So that's how I have that's my passion for psychology in a nutshell.
I don't think I could ever think of psychology as being something that was like a hobby. That's wonderful. So you go through your days feeling like you're just on a vacation.
Yes. In fact, if I don't, there was a time, I think now I'm out of it, but I think there was a time if I didn't see clients or didn't do psychology work for few days, like I've gone somewhere or some family, I used to feel very awkward, and I used to say, I think I have a, psychology lag. People have jet lags and I have psychology lag. I need to do something.
So could you tell us where you work? Are you just, is it a self-employed, or do you work at a clinic, or where do you work?
So currently I'm at a very different stage, as Anita said that, yeah, it is 32 years, Anita, after NIMHANS. So, and the before NIMHANS, so I was studying psychology. But so I had strategically decided that I'll work across different target groups and not make myself a super specialist. When I started my career after completing my NIMHANS, I went back to Rajasthan. I was the first clinical psychologist to set up a clinic in NIMHANS in Rajasthan and run it successfully for 6 years. Wow. And I used to get a lot of clients, and I worked in a school for mentally challenged children. Then I used to work in a clinic where I used to see all kinds of clients, but they also had a polyclinic which used to deal with infertile couples. So I used to do couple counseling and whatever required for the infertility issues and all that stuff. But slowly, as I kind of progressed and I came to Bangalore in 1997, I decided that I will work across all target groups. So I kind of started taking anything and everything that came, and I was a freelancer. So I became a diversified practitioner by default. So it's like my one client could be a 5-year-old, my next client could be a 45-year-old, my next client could be a couple, my next would be a remedial trainer. So like that I did, and I got extremely involved with skills development and life skills by then. And that's when I started developing life skills training modules and manuals and stuff like that, and then got into it, and I continue to do that for a very long time. So currently I'm at a stage where I'm trying to condense all of them and put it in different things so that the legacy can go forward and things can be taken forward. So I currently work in a company called Parent of. 2014, another love affair happened. It was not infidelity. Let me make it clear. it was still another love affair, and I married the two loves of my life, and which is technology. I got extremely engrossed and enthralled by technology.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was then trying to figure out how psychology and technology can come together and how can their marriage happen. So I want to let my love get married. So when I started doing a lot of experiments on that, I had an engineering student. We did a lot of experiments, spent some money to very quickly realize that my knowledge of psychology is good. My knowledge of technology is pathetic. So I coined two words. I said, I'm a dystechnia. Like we have dyscalculia, dysgraphia. I coined the word saying I'm a dystechnia, which means technology is something I'm dysfunctional at. Today I call myself Miss Technia because whatever softwares I develop, I can master them very soon, but I can't develop, I can't create. However, this, I would say the crazy phase of my life was well taken by some of my friends with whom I was constantly discussing my challenges. And one of my friend with some other people decided to start this company called Parent Off. Okay, Parent OF off. Okay. Parent Off. So then they were interviewing psychologists or subject matter experts for the same thing. And they came to me, they said, we have only half an hour, we'll talk to you. And that half an hour meeting actually ended up being a 3-hour meeting where I spoke about all the varieties of ways in which technology can help psychology and parenting. And then they said, okay, send us a proposal or whatever. I sent them something. Honestly, that proposal has never come to light, but it was more to kind of put the thought in the idea. And then they decided to take me on, and I joined them in 2015 as a subject matter experts. And we are still on the thing, building the world's first artificial intelligence and machine learning based skill development program for children.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, so we're trying to democratize skill development. So, and we are going at a very, very micro level to understand. So if you come and tell us that the child is not good at writing, we can actually identify we are in the process of building AI ML takes 10 years, 15 years because the machine has to do a lot of learning. But we also have a team of experts, and I lead those team of experts. So we can actually come and say why the child is not writing properly or why the speed of the writing is not good. And we can suggest simple non-writing activities to develop the skill. The outcome of that is the child writes faster. So this is just one example. We can do it for all, whether it's drawing, whether it is learning, academic performance, screen addiction, and all that stuff. So I've been leading this team for the last 7 years, and the whole, so we call the proprietorship model that we did as ARC model, and I hold the intellectual part of it as a thing. And so this is what we did. Now, whatever I had to give to the company has been given. So now the tech is taken over. There's a lot more tech experiments that are happening with the product manager. So my job is to now get into research to say that is this working, and to get certifications from leading institutes. So I work with more research, getting certified for different work that we do, different models that we do. So that's one part of the work. However, when I joined Parent Off, I was very clear that I will not leave my private practice or any other initiative that I take. And the founders and the investors were also actually very clear that we don't want you to leave, because Parent Off gets its strength from the other work and experience that you get, because that feeds the trend. Because if I'm doing something outside, that feeds my trend. So they allowed me to kind of continue with that. So I continued my private practice also in the last 7 years. And now I've seen that there is a need post-COVID, during COVID, that there was need for a lot of other things. And then I've started a few other initiatives. So currently I have a private practice, I have a full-time job, and then I have these small campaigns and initiatives that I am part of.
So I think about this is, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. If you look at it linear, you started with English literature and then psychology and then technology, but I don't think, my imagination says it wasn't something linear, or that it was something more like this. Yes. Could you tell us about any setbacks or turning points?
I think obviously setbacks, I think I would like to talk about setbacks as a mental health professional in general that I faced. When I finished Nimhans and went back to Jodhpur to start my clinic, because I understood the cultural background of Rajasthan, I actually started my clinic in my own residence. So my room during the day would be my clinic, and at night that was my bedroom. I would make the arrangements in the morning. And the reason being is that as a mental health profession, you have to lock the door and talk to the clients, right? And in Rajasthan, 1990, locking a door and a male being inside for 1 hour had its own different meanings, if you understand what I'm talking. So
yeah.
to break the bias, and over a period of time, people started understanding. It took 6 months to 8 months for people to understand that she means business and she means transformation. That, when she takes people inside and she says she's talking to them, she's really talking to them. So after which I shifted to a polyclinic, because then it became more things. So I think that was one of the biggest strategy I used, and I'm very proud of it. The other, but however, such a challenge even exists in Bangalore as late as 2014, where I tried to establish my center in another place, because I wanted a very different kind of setup for all my other work that I wanted to do. And one particular Sunday, I had a lot of clients back to back, but they were all men. And the landlord got very, like, the men are coming for 1 hour and then leaving. So the landlord got very flabbergasted and he told me, ma'am, we can't allow you to practice here. So that was a major setback, because suddenly, a whole setup that I had kind of planning to do was taken away from me. Then I had to redo, and something I did, and then I got my setup good and running. So I think the stigma of a woman working is definitely one major challenge in the field of mental health professional, because, and especially if you're gender neutral. Like, you're not just working with children, but you're also working with adults, and then adults means men also. So then that becomes a challenge. So I think that was one challenge. I think another challenge has been for me, because of my passion and love for skill development. A lot of people have questioned, why as a clinical psychologist are you getting into skill development, which is from the field of positive psychology.
Yeah.
Till I think 2008 or 10, I'm not very sure, till positive psychology as a field emerged in India. But I was doing that work before itself. So I was very, I was questioned, and I was actually made to feel guilty for doing skill development work when I should be doing clinical work. But I had such a great passion for skill development. So I think there were setbacks because of that, because people would make comments and then they would not give me projects or something like that would happen. And that was a second setback. I think the third setback was the marriage of psychology and technology. I very quickly realized that technology needs a lot of funding. One, in terms of resources. Second, it needs a lot of knowledge on my part. Like, how quickly I can understand a person, I take probably 10 times more the time to understand technology, and I think I would only understand 0.1% of it, right? So I think that was a huge setback, because the experiments we did were very amazing. What I did in 2014 actually came out in 2021, 7 years later.
Wow.
Okay, and I was trying to create a platform for mental health professionals to record and document their case studies, okay, and get a dashboard which will help them to analyze the trends of what kind of clients are coming, what kinds of clients are improving, what kind of clients are, benefiting from their therapy, where they should make changes, what kind of improvements they need to do. And we had created that platform, okay. And when I realized that the next level, I needed architects and I needed somebody, that is now there are 2 companies in India who have developed this. Okay, so it's now in 2021. In fact, my demo with both the companies actually happened in 2022. So I think that was a huge setback, because I think deep somewhere inside, I have a regret that, that was one area I could not complete. Yeah, I mean, like, a pinch in the sense that, but now I'm happy I'm in technology. Now I'm happy to see these 2 companies, coming up and really doing exactly how I had visualized. So I do attend their demos. I give feedback. One company has approached me to kind of say, can you create activities? Can you do something to kind of enhance? But yeah, I'm in conversation with them. It's more like a kind of formal conversations, the informal conversations. But yeah, that I think was a huge setback. It literally took me 6 months to get over that I do not have the knowledge and resources to do this marriage. And I have to depend on a lot of other people to get them married. If you get, and obviously now they're married, so I think they're happy. So that's where I am with that.
Great. So you mentioned Jodhpur, you mentioned Bangalore. So it does seem like you have traveled. How has this helped or deterred you in your path or your career?
I think deterred, no. I think a little toughy to deter me from a lot of things. Yeah, so a little toughy from that perspective. Help, definitely one. Definitely, yes. One major thing that this travel has helped. So I've not just traveled, done my clinics in Jodhpur and Bangalore, but I've also led a project on skill development across India in 13 cities. And then I've worked with NGOs in tier 2, tier 3 cities, in tribal schools, and like different target groups. And one thing that it has helped me establish is it has actually helped me overcome all the prejudices, opinions that I by default would have been holding deep inside about people. North Indians are like this, South Indians are like this, village people are like this. They should be. I think I've come to a stage where I like very tough conversation now I have with some of my friends. So when I introduce somebody, they say, "Oh, which religion or which caste do they belong?" And I said, "I don't know." So they say, "You take so much of information, you know everything about their inner life." I said, "Yeah, I know everything about their inner life, but I don't know which caste, which creed they belong to." So that is something that has gone out of me. I've been able to see the beauty of commonalities among different culture and how humanity expresses itself in this commonality. So I think it's been really a great help, and it has helped me resonate with people and enhance my empathy towards people. So I think that's where it's settled itself. So I think that's the beautiful part of traveling and working in different areas rather than being stuck to one city or one niche.
I like that phrase, humanity expressing itself in commonalities.
Yes.
Nice, nice.
Beautiful. So another question is, you've written this book called Powerful Dialogues. How did it come about, and what helped it grow?
That's another. So I think my love with English literature didn't go. My love with writing didn't go. For 25 years of my write, the only thing I probably wrote were case studies, which were very dry clinical case studies, or manuals like skill development manuals and all. Technical writing, I would say, psychological technical writings. But one of my mentee once said that, "Shobha, your dialogues are very powerful and you should write a book on powerful dialogues." And I took it as a joke. I really took it as a joke. This is as early as 2010. I really took it as a 10 or 11, I think. So I took it as a joke. I said, "Hey, no, this person is just like, he's benefited from me, so he's saying." Then I spoke to somebody else, one of my other mentee, and she said, "No, Shobha, that is true." So she mentioned that. So then it started occurring to me that I should write, and I started writing. But then I went back to the notes. I started interviewing people. I did a lot of work. They were very dry clinical case studies documents that I had. And I was very sure that was not something that I wanted to publish. So then my publisher, so the publisher is my friend, Prism Books Private Limited. So I went to him and I said, "This is where I'm stuck." So he gave me a very beautiful content facilitator, not an editor. Though she does editing job, she said, "For you, she'll work as a content facilitator." We both started talking, and then she saw my, she probably realized, and then she asked me, "What is the visualization of your book?" I said, "I want it's a narrative and a story style. I don't want this dry cases to come for people to read, but I want it to be very, very humane and very, very narrative style." So she brought in and she trained me in those narrative styles. Then she facilitated the whole content, and then the book, and hence we published the book in 2019. So it got published, it got launched and released. I think then the love affair with writing, like again continued, I think English literature. So probably what I dreamt that by the fag end of my life and when I would be retiring, I would be with literature. I think I'm going back there. So this year I'm planning to kind of, so I've just completed one set of short story collection called Kaleidoscope and another novel called Soul Sisters. So this year, probably before December, I should be able to release and launch them. So, and there's one more in the pipeline, which is called The Period, which is the hormonal journey of a woman. That's only 40.
Say that again, please, Shobha.
It's the third novel is called Period, Hormonal Journey of a Woman.
Oh.
So from, menarche to menopause, everything that happens inside the woman, but it's a novel. But I wanted to bring in all the social restrictions, the prejudices, the challenges, the non-acceptance of society of sexuality and other issues, and how you have to deal with it, how your own thing changes. So it's a little complicated, I would say, in terms of writing. So I think it's taken a little back, and also because I had a lot of other work to do. So hopefully next year that will come. So once that comes, I think I would be my writing for the time being seems to be sense of completion with these 3-4 things that come.
Wow, you're such an interesting person. And yes, it's so, I have too many questions going on in my mind, but I know that we can't really ask you a question that we normally ask. We normally ask people, like, what's a typical day like? But I think that there is.
You can ask me that.
I think
I don't have a typical day. So my answer is I don't have one.
All right then, Shobha, what's a typical day like for you?
So it's my every day is different, because I think on Monday morning, my Monday decides my week. So Monday morning when I wake up, I decide what I want to do for the week and what I want to get accomplished in the week. Obviously, 10 to 6 or something is my company time. So that is where it goes into the company research work and other parent of work, basically. But other than that, morning is basically devoted to self. So basically, now it's raining in Bangalore, but basically going for a walk and that kind of a thing. 9:30 I log in, and till 6 anyway, it's the parent of work. 6 to 8, I have a very strict rule of no technology. So I don't kind of come online. I try to refuse as many as, if there are meetings or any, I try to refuse unless they become a mandate. And then 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock and 9 to 10, I have client appointments.
Oh.
So, and by 10 o'clock, and then 10 to 11 is my either reading time or watching some movie, or I can't sit and watch a full movie, but typically probably snippets of some movie or something, just like a chill time, and then I sleep. So I think that's my typical day. So only thing that's fixed in my day is my appointments.
They're rather late. Of course, I've found that Indians do stay up a lot later than
required.
Go ahead, Anita.
Yeah. So your journey has been very eventful throughout, places, events, things that you're doing. And before we get on to what stripes of women, what transformations have you experienced through your journey in life?
Oh, major transformations, I would say. I think one of the transformation that I experienced was, it's difficult to now say what are the different transformations, but I think it's become very logical because it's become a way of being. But I think adaptability is something that I was a very strict person. I'm a pure vegetarian. I don't drink, I don't smoke. There are a lot of things that I don't do. Very religious, temple, God-fearing, blah, blah, blah. But I think I've been able to adapt to sit with people who eat non-veg. I can sit next to a person unless they don't force me to. So I've learned the balance, and I think that was a huge transformation, especially after I came to NIMHANS to do my MPhil. Because we had all kinds of people there, and I had to really, really adapt myself to understand, how do I differentiate the person who eats non-vegetarian to a person who he or she is, with the knowledge, with the friendship, with the resonance. So I think that was the first level of change that happened in me. I would not say transformation. Then 2000, I think 3 to 2000, I think 8, 5 years, I underwent psychoanalysis. And I think that was a time of deeper transformations that happened. I was able to let go of a lot of my self-criticism. I was a very self-critical person. I was a perfectionist. I wanted things like this. And I then learned during that period to be kind to myself, and actually then just blossomed. Like I blossomed when I left self-criticism and allowed myself to make mistakes with the assurance that I would not make fatalistic mistakes, either in personal life or professional life. So that confidence that gave. I think that was a major transformation that happened during my psychoanalysis. Also, psychoanalysis helped me shed a lot of my inhibitions, a lot of my fears, a lot of my unsaid feelings, and I knew how to express myself better. Because as a psychologist, you end up only listening. You don't have platform to express, right? So you're all the time taking in, but you don't have a platform to express. So I think psychoanalysis helped me to figure out ways to express myself. Then I had a very major setback in my life in terms of the hormonal journey, and that's why the writing of the book period is my what do you call my own menopausal journey, which ran like a long 10 years, and it was very bad. I went through very, very bad physical, emotional, social changes that happened around me. In fact, one whole year I didn't work. I was out of circulation. I had to bring myself back to circulation. It was like literally start from scratch and all. And I think that gave me a lot of impetus in resilience, and that transformed me, because now I know what it means to have pain in the body. Now I know what it means to have brain fog. Now I know what it means to have nights, hot flashes. I know. And now when I see, I can identify. So I think it's increased a sense of sensitivity and sensing the pulse of people in me extensively, though it was a very, very tough time. I think I've just come out in 2020. I've just come out. It took 10 years for me, and a lot of self-work, lifestyle changes. And also, I think that was a major transformational journey that happened for me. So there are 3 times that I went through, like I went down, and I also realized how when you listen to people and their journeys, how deeply it impacts you, and how you need to be aware of your own emotions, and how you need to learn to regulate your emotions. And I think that I learned with one of my mentor, and I think that was the most beautiful part of my journey. So I think that is where the transformational experiences have come from.
So we want very much to hear more about Tribes of Women, and I'm assuming that it was the result of some of this transformation. Could you tell us what it is and how it came to be and your vision for it?
Okay, so I think this is a little long story. I hope none of you are getting bored with my long monologues, but yeah, this is a little long story. So I think in India, we have this saying, right, that Lakshmi and Saraswati, that is the goddess of wealth and the goddess of knowledge, cannot be in the same house together. So it basically means that if you have knowledge, you don't have money, and if you have money, you don't have knowledge. Like that's a collective, unconscious, deeply rooted in our, like Lakshmi and Saraswati can't be in the same place, same time. And we worship both of them in as women, and they if you look at it from a psychological perspective, not from a religious, they are the archetypes that we hold. And this has always bothered me a lot. So when I saw and I have also grown up with the IT industry, right? I saw the IT industry boom. I saw the fall of the IT industry. I saw it coming up. Now I'm seeing artificial intelligence, data sciences. That journey has been a parallel journey of the outer world as my professional journey has happened. And I realized at one point of time that Saraswati and Lakshmi are together in the IT industry. Only if you have knowledge, you have wealth, right? I know I have worked with very, very senior IT professionals, and I know how they've negotiated for their salaries and got higher salaries, incentives, bonuses. So it was more knowledge, more wealth, which means Saraswati and Lakshmi are staying together. And we have always said Saraswati and Lakshmi are not together. So somewhere that started kind of forming in my idea that if we as a woman come together, we can actually make changes. And it was a very, I think somewhere in 2008-9, this thought had started coming in my mind. And I was just toying with this idea, and I was just thinking what had happened. Second thing was that in all my ups and downs, and especially my downs, I've always had a very powerful woman next to me who has pulled it out. One of them throughout being my own mother. Okay. But my own cousins, my cousin sisters, my friends have really stood in good stead with me. And I cannot kind of, so I always felt that when we come together, we support each other, we grow. Third that happened is 3 of us friends got together, and we had this one session where we said, let's hold each other's dreams. So I have a dream to do something, you have a dream to do something. You tell me your dream, I tell you my dream, and we help each other hold the dreams, so that we are not pressurized by our dreams. And then whenever we see the right moment, right person, right resources, we connect you and the dream. And the 3 of us did this, and then we felt such a great sense of liberation just by sharing the dream and holding each other's dream in our hearts. So I think that changed, and I said, okay, there is something powerful in sharing, in creating safe spaces, in women coming together. So I always tried doing this in small ways in my, even in my company, I used to have every Saturday 2 hours of sharing session, or whenever we felt overworked, we used to have a sharing session, unstress ourselves and all that stuff. So, but especially during lockdown, what I started seeing is that when the lockdown happened and I started seeing the issues of the lockdown, I saw how women were struggling. The kind of clients that were coming to me, the loneliness that they were facing, the sense of discrimination that they experienced, even when both of them were working from home, the issues that they were facing, the lack of space for conversation, lot of things, and the piled up emotions of anxiety and sadness, not depression, but sadness, that I could sense in the woman is what made me start what is called as My Zone, Speaking the Unspeakable, which Anita Bhutan is a major part and forerunner of that. And I just sent out a invitation to all my friends saying, can we start My Zone, Speaking the Unspeakable, and meet weekly and just talk? And that started on 21st May. That started on May 2021. I think 11th or 12th May 2021. So we just started that whole process, and over by November, we realized the value and strength of it. It was so powerful. There were women who were saying they changed. There were women who were fighting. Like nobody wanted to miss the session. So we started seeing I started seeing a lot of benefit of that. So then the 4 of us got together, which is Anita Bhuttani, Anita Raja, and Nandini, who had joined the course, that should we take it forward? And that's how Tribes of Women came into being. Then we decided we want to formalize and make it even more. So from November, we started working on the idea, and we launched Tribes of Women in February. And we have the My Zone going forward. My vision for Tribes of Women, I think, is it should be a one-point solution for women to enhance their own self in whichever area they would like to go forward with. And they should get solutions to the problems that they are experiencing, which they cannot share with anybody, which can be understood in a safe, secure space. So currently we are running My Zone, Speaking the Unspeakable, which has been running from February, and it will continue to run. Then when we started looking more and started doing and understanding the woman more, we came up with 3 more programs. So the next program that we are launching, which is on 10th of September, which is called Reclaim Self-Compassion for Educators. So this is exclusively for educators. They could be in school or they could be in colleges, because we felt if the educators could develop self-compassion, and especially women educators, because I see a lot of women teachers not taking care of themselves, and their anger, their stress spills onto the children. So it's impacting the young minds also. So that is second. Then we suddenly realized that during the lockdown, there have been a lot of breakups, long distance breakups. there have been a lot of divorces that have happened, and there are these stats available, and there are a lot of women who are single. So we realize that single women have a set of challenges that are very different, which my zone cannot address, because my zone is a overall generic space of safety, right? So now we are probably October or November, we are going to launch Belith Woman, which is exclusively for women who are single by choice or by consequence. Choice means I made a choice to be single. Consequence means I am single because either of divorce, death, or breakup from the partner. So by any reason, so it's called, so it's a platform for single women by choice or by consequence. And it will address the challenges that they are facing. And we have heard a lot of individual challenges, discrimination, taken for granted because they are single, because there's like and I have faced it, I'm single. Like, you don't have any other work, so do this extra work. Like, you can stay 1 hour extra to do this work. No, why should I stay? Right? Just because I don't have why should I stay and do extra work? I have something else to do for myself. I may want to read a book. I want to listen to music. So I see a lot of these challenges and issues single women face. Okay. And then when we started in my zone, all the women we started talking to this woman, and Anita has actually taken a huge lead in this. We found that there are a lot of talent which they can convert it into courses and teach other people. And they have a passion for that. They didn't know how to do it. So the fourth program we are starting is Unlock your ideas. And from idea to implementation, we will actually handhold them to create a course. It could be on cooking, it could be on embroidery, it could be on anything and everything under the sun, because me and Anita Raja are curriculum developers. I have trained myself to be a curriculum developer. I work on andragogy and pedagogy principles very deeply, use Bloom's taxonomy, use Kirk in terms of the transformation. So I use all the theories. I'm very well versed with those things. So we are bringing all those knowledge of ours to help women create their own courses and launch it on our platform. And then it can be a passive income or active income for them, depending on how much they promote it. So my vision is to create such campaigns, such initiatives under Tribes of Women, where women can empower and unleash their inner potential, come together as a support system for each other. Okay. And in some way or the other, break this whole prejudice that a woman is an enemy of another woman. We basically are, soul sisters, each one of us. Right. So I think somewhere it's a deep rooted prejudice, and I think it's very overambitious. I know sometimes I've been told that to break this, because when two women come together, can they really be friends? Can they really be sisters? Can they really connect, collaborate, coordinate? Many times, most of the people have said the answer is no. And I want to just prove that wrong. So at a very, very larger vision, that is my vision. But yeah, there will be a lot of these initiatives that will happen for a lot of things.
Is there going to be a Tribes of Men as well?
Very interested. I'm not getting the right kind of men who hold the philosophy of brotherhood to come together. One or two of them in the passing have said yes, but they have not taken the initiative. I cannot lead Tribes of Men, obviously, for obvious reasons. So I need some men. I can guide them on how to go about it. I can support in terms of as a backup support to say, how to structure it. And they can use their own intuition and their own logic. But yeah, waiting for some men to take this up. Hopefully one day universe will send somebody who's interested to start Tribes of Men. My larger would be that probably we come to a stage where men and women don't have this gender, very, very utopian wish, romantic illusion that I hold. That one day we come to a stage where we do not talk about gender discrimination, sexist attitude, feminism is not a trend, Me Too is not a campaign. Like, these are some of the romantic illusions that I carry in my head, and okay, God willing, someday, some century, things will happen. So yeah. But basically, Tribes of Woman is basically to break this stereotype of a woman cannot be a friend of another woman. that Lakshmi and Saraswati can stay together.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, Vicky. I just wanted to step in one more because I just wanted to finish this.
Go ahead.
Is it possible that there can be something for students who are at undergrad or grad level?
In Tribes of Women?
Yes, like Tribes of Women.
Like Tribes of Women?
Yes.
Yeah, so so me and my junior, we are about to start another initiative called Mansik Swasthya Pahal. Okay, let's talk mental health. And that is exclusively for educational institutions, but it's for the institution as a whole, where especially for undergrads and graduates, we will have certain programs that we are going to come up with. One of the other IT person along with me has started something called Rishte Speaks, which is on relationship coaching. So that is exclusively actually for grads and undergrads, because relationship issue is a huge challenge. And I'm not just talking about heterosexual relationship. I think when you enter the world of adults, you have to actually work with 5 relationships. You have to work with your parents, which is your primary relationship, right? Then you have to work with a secondary relationship, which is authority relationship, which is your teachers, professors, right? Then you have to have relationship with obviously your friends, right? Which is your classmates. Then you have the junior, senior divide. And the most important relationship that you have to work is the what I call as the non-academic staff of the institution. Your humility, your values get seen by the way you treat your housekeeping staff, your security staff, and your relationship with them. Because you can do what you can do only because they do what they can do the best. And having that humility to be with them. So there are these 5 relationships which are of paramount importance. And these 5 relationships always will take you to the next level in the... So Rishte Speaks as an exclusive program for undergrads and grads on relationship, which includes stress management, resilience, communication skills, and interpersonal relationship by default. So that together helps them address the programs at the graduation. So it will obviously help them when you ground yourself in good relationships. Success is yours. Like you talk to any big successful person, the first thing they will tell you is how they treated the security guard. They may tell you in a fun way that, I used to give him 5 rupees and you do this for me. Like I know one CEO who once told me that every month I used to give this X amount to this person. And whenever I came with my friends, and he will salute me or he will get me a glass of water. If I tell him to get something, he'll get for me. But what he realized, but then he would also spend time with the security guard, listening to his problems, giving him some suggestion. If his children needed some study related material. So he used to do these small things, which was in today's world, it would be under 500 rupees or 300 rupees a month kind of expensive. I have to just put a figure to it. But what he learned was how to use communication and humility to create relationship. And today he is a serial entrepreneur. He has created companies. He has sold companies. He has created a lot of wealth from himself. And he's still the same. Even today, when he gets down from the car, he does thank you to his driver for safe driving. Yeah. I think these are very basic things that can be inculcated at the which can be inculcated at the graduation level, because you have learned all these things in the school system, like a closed environment. How do you apply that in a big bad world or a big good world outside, right? So Rishte Speaks exclusively focuses on that. So that's the program. We are very passionate, at least I am very passionate for the grads and the undergrads, because I feel that's the need of the hour. And obviously all the heterosexual relationship, romantic relationships that come with, with the age. But we see a lot of breakdowns happening there, and we see a lot of politics happening there, a lot of body shaming, a lot of naming, a lot of, calling out happening there. And I think these are things that need to stop. That's why I say I have a very romantic illusion of words. So I try everything to see if something like that can be established.
Yeah, Vicky, over to you.
Okay, well, I want to make sure that we have a little time for our interested audience. I'm sure now we don't have a lot of time, but I want to open it up to see if anyone has a specific question for Shobha. You've had so many already wonderful words of wisdom, but is there a specific question anyone has?
I know if Avneet is asking a question, then she's on mute. Avneet, are you asking something?
Yeah.
You were on mute.
You said you're writing a book on, hormonal journey. So, see, the question comes to my mind is my daughter has just started her journey. Just a second. Am I there?
Yes.
Your picture isn't, but your voice is.
Yeah. Just a second. Something, So, I want to know or you to develop or guide parents. Like she just started the menstruation and this in the school also, because now the girls are having it, she's in class 6 and it's been already 10 years she started, So as a parent and how to handle it, though we're doing our best, telling them and how to prepare them, like
so I think the book probably the book will have some of these things that you are asking for, which is basically, it will not have very specific tips for parents, but it will have tips for anybody who comes in contact with the challenges of the hormonal journey and how do you deal with it. So I think the book will have definitely have what do you call tips and techniques to deal with it in that, because it kind of takes the journey throughout all the phases of a woman's life. So because see, the challenging thing is that when the daughters attain menarche, the mother are at menopausal stages or perimenopausal stages. The conflict is also there. We have to understand it in the larger context. So many times the difficulty that you face is not of a mother and a daughter, not of a age, but it's about two different journeys that is internally happening in both of them. And the reactions and the responses coming out from there. So the understanding has to be, and that's why the whole idea of writing a book rather than a webinar or a series of podcasts is to basically understand the complexity of that in a very simple, easy manner. That's why the book is taking a little longer than I thought I would be. It's 3 years and I'm still writing. So the complexity is little there. Hopefully I'll be able to come up with what hopefully it will fulfill what you're asking for at this point of time. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Shobha.
Yes. And I'm looking at, there's at least a half a dozen of my students who are here with us, and different streams. And obviously we've already talked about your interest in your career was not just something linear. And so I think that they want to know, do you have something specific that you want to share with them concerning, concerning starting a career, advice, I guess, another word of wisdom specifically for starting out on your career?
I think this is my two favorite dialogues I would like to say. Rule number 1, don't study for exams. Rule number 1, never study for exams. Study for the day when you will translate this knowledge that you're gaining in your graduate into solving real life, real world problems. I did not study psychology to get marks. I studied psychology for the day when I am sitting all alone in front of a client with no professors, no books I can refer to, and still understand the client in totality and do my intervention. So my request, irrespective of the field you are, study whatever you're studying to, not for exams. Exam is just one of the hurdle you cross. If you study for your career, this is one hurdle you will just jump over. Okay, so I think that's the first advice, and this is the advice, and I've found it many students who follow this actually have done very well in their lives. Okay, so this is my one. Second, whatever you do, try to be your authentic self, because build your own brand. So I tell many of the youngsters who come and say, I like this branded clothes, I always tell them, you are not defined by the branded clothes you wear. You are defined by the brand you carry as a person. So graduation, undergrad and grad is a time, and especially immediately after post-graduation is a time to decide your brand. What kind of brand you want to be? Do you want to be a fairy, do you want to be an aggressive brand? Do you want to be a very slow acting, organically evolving brand as a person? And that will help you take a lot of decisions. Third thing that I would like to say is, I understand there is a need to earn money. Vitamin M, which is money, is very important. Maybe you take up a profession that doesn't suit your passion, which means don't leave your passion. I fell in love with psychology to leave English literature, but I think I've never left them back into writing, and English is what is helping me to write, because I write in English, right? So literature is what is helping me. So please remember, anything that you you have a passion at this age, one day in your life, the universe will fulfill your dream. So have faith in that own self to follow the passion that you need to follow. So I think that's very, very important. So these are like 3 common pieces of advice that I would like to give.
Wonderful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Any last questions before we ask everyone to please turn on their video so we can have our souvenir picture? So somebody has their hand raised. Mrinalini?
Good evening, Dr. Shobha. I would like a little more inputs from you as to, I mean, I'm sure there'll be surprises, but how you'd like to, how you'd be taking this blind women, the single women, that forum forward, because that was something that has tremendously appealed to me also, though I'm neither a sociologist nor a psychologist. Well,
yeah, so Mrinalini, since you know the style of our functioning of tribes of women,
yeah,
we have identified 4 key areas in which we would like to start with. So it will start with a 3-month course. It will start like a 3-month course, where very, very specific issues to about single women will be addressed. Okay, from the prejudices that you hold, from the self-limiting beliefs that you hold within yourself, which does not allow you to, as simple as, like, I was very happy yesterday. I went for a movie and the person sitting next to me was a single lady. And all my friends were like, there's only single woman who's coming and watching the movie. But that's a break. That's a complete, you have broken the self-limiting belief that you hold for yourself, and you're enjoying something that you enjoy the most. And she happily was enjoying. She got herself the popcorn, she got herself the Coke, eating, and it was a nice movie, so we all enjoyed. But I could see her enjoyment was as good as we who had gone with a group. So breaking all these self-limiting beliefs that we hold around ourselves, the fears that we hold around ourselves, what are the safety measures we need to look into. So it will be a 3-month course where all of these will be addressed. And then it will follow with either a fortnightly or a monthly meeting to share, discuss challenges and learn from each other. So like what we have currently, My Zone, it will go forward from there. And then obviously we'll be support systems to each other to do whatever we need to do with each other.
So like when you say 3-month course, who would be taking it? All of us? I mean, how?
No. The 3-month course will have special experts belonging to coming and giving you input. So we are still working. We plan to do it in a combination of hybrid, where there'll be videos that will be, and it's a combination of all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're still evolving the whole process, the single woman thing. But I think by end of September, we should have a greater clarity and probably launch it by end of October or November. So that's the whole idea of that. But yeah, it will be run by different people from tribes of women. Since you know all of us, it will be me and Nandini leading it, because we both are the single woman in the tribe. So we both will be leading it from our side, and we will be calling in experts. So we are evolving all that stuff into the whole process. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you tell the audience where, if they want more information about your books or more information about you, should they go to LinkedIn, or do you have a website, Shobha?
Yeah, I have a website. My website is under construction. I think it will be released by end of this week, because I had to incorporate all the other work that I am doing into my website. They can go to LinkedIn to find more about me. I think, however nice it sounds of whatever I've spoken till now about me, I think that's not what most of the people want. Most of the people want real solutions to their real problems, right? I think you have my phone number. Anita has my phone number. Anybody who's willing, you can give my phone number. I'm always a WhatsApp message away. Very simple rule. You can WhatsApp me. Anybody for that matter can WhatsApp me. My turnaround time, that is the corporate language that they talk TAT. My turnaround time is 4 hours to 24 hours. You will get a reply. Typically, I give reply in 90 minutes, but I say 4 hours to 24 hours because if I'm in meetings, if I'm doing workshops and all, I can't reply to messages. Like now, 1 hour I could not reply to messages, right? So like that. So 4 hours to 24 hours, you will definitely get a reply. If you don't get a reply, do one more message, never hurts. But you will get what you want from me, and that's a assurance I can give. I can't give a guarantee card because I'm not selling gold and platinum and diamonds, so no guarantee cards. But I can assure you that I will get back to you, and I will definitely help you in whichever way you want.
Because she is a genuine person. Thank you, Shobha. Thank you so much. All right. Let's have videos on for a moment. We lost a couple people just now because we went over time, but at least we'll have a picture with who's left. Thank you all. Navya, Asha, Manisha.
Manish, I think it's Manish, yeah. Vratika, nice name. I like that name, Vratika.
Uh-huh. There she is.
Yeah, that's Asha.
Okay. All right. So I'll count to 3. Please smile. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. We are just indebted and grateful and inspired. And we wish you all the best in the coming months with the different groups and also the books. And just thank you for taking the time for us.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to know, will the recording be available when and where?
Yes, my husband is let me just stop the recording.